melting away. Right now it's daylight. I don't know why. I have a lost drink and I'm thinking I'm sinking. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm sinking. It's streaming in down on the east side. Been up all night.
This has been a well-earned beer today.
Kid stuff?
Phone. So, cell phones in our house are like cars in your house. So
I'll see your cell phones and raise you car problems.
Yeah.
Cell phones I can live without. I can find ways around phones.
Well, teenage girls can't.
Isn't it kind of crazy the life we live these days? Any little inconvenience is a big deal now.
Oh, right? I know.
You and I did survive for many, many years without needing a cell phone.
I had my Nokia flip phone in college. That was the first one I had.
Right? Exactly. I had some, I don't know what it was. It was something from Sprint. I remember back when Sprint used to exist.
Yeah.
Which doesn't anymore. So, oh man.
So yeah.
So what's going on? What's going on with the phones?
Well, here we'll back up. So
okay.
I don't know. I guess it was probably 6 months ago. Kaylee was sitting there flipping her phone in the air, and I go, "Stop it! You're gonna drop it." And she goes, "Oh, these phones are almost indestructible." And she instantly dropped it, and it shattered the screen of it.
Oh, Jesus. Oh.
And I was so pissed. So we got it fixed, but when we got this phone for her almost 2 years ago, it was the free one for opening a line. So it had like no memory on it, and she has to delete apps and photos like once a week so she can the phone can function.
Yep.
So about a month ago, we're like, all right, well, she's starting to hang out with kids that can drive. Her boyfriend just got his license yesterday. Ooh. So we're like, we need to get Life 360 on her phone. Mm-hmm. But she doesn't have room for it. So we'll get her a new phone.
Okay.
So we got her the Galaxy Z Flip 4. It's one of those Samsung flip phones, but it's still touchscreen.
Okay.
And so yesterday I was on my way home and I get a text. We have a problem.
Oh, no.
And so I call instantly. Kaylee dropped her phone. The hinge of the phone broke, which caused a bubble in her screen. We can't put her password in to do anything on the phone because that's right where the bubble's at. Okay, what time does the AT&T store close tonight? It was 7:45. One of them by us closed at 8. I go, we can head over there, but they're not going to have the phone in stock.
Nope.
Let's just deal with it tomorrow. I'll go at lunchtime.
Okay.
I go at lunchtime. I'm in the store for half an hour. So the store manager's helping me. He's like, all right, I opened a claim. It's under warranty. You just have to call AT&T's line and they'll process the claim. I'm like, okay. So I get in the car. I call. I talk to somebody for a while. I'm trying to explain to him. And he's like, well, it looks like they started the claim, but they haven't processed it because people in the stores are lazy. Flat out said they're lazy. I'm like, well, it's okay, let's do something about it. And he's like, well, I got to transfer you to our warranty department.
Oh my God. Just the nightmare. I'm already stressing out for you, and I'm not even involved in this situation. I'm getting my dealing with companies.
Yeah.
Anger is building up right now.
Yeah. And of course, it's offshore people. And so even for as much as I've worked with offshore people, it's still tough to understand at times.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So we go through the whole spiel. He's like, all right, well, I'll open the claim for you. We'll start processing it. It's like IMEI number. I'm like, where am I supposed to get that from? Well, you'll have to go into settings.
Yep. But you can't.
I've already told you I can't get into the phone. Well, do you have the box? Yes, I got the box. Well, it should be on the side. I'm like, that number is not on the side of the box. I have a serial number. And I rattled off all these numbers. He's like, no, those aren't them. Nope. Are you sure you're looking on the side of the box?
Bro, it's like, come on, man.
And I'm like, okay, how do I get this number? He's like, well, you're going to have to call Samsung. I'm like, are you serious? I've sat on the phone with you for an hour, and you can't do anything.
Yep.
Well, click.
No. Oh, no. Oh,
So
no.
I call Samsung.
Mm-hmm.
The woman's like, well, it's on the back of the phone. It's just really small. And I look, you need a magnifying glass
Yep.
to see this number.
Yep.
In
All I
gray.
thought I had would be if it's registered online somehow on your online account.
You would
I don't know
think
if
so. You think they would have all that. The woman at Samsung said, well, they should have that already. But, yeah, it's written in gray, real tiny, on the back of a gray phone. So she's like, well, we use Ubreak iFix as a licensed vendor to fix these. So you can actually take it over there, and they will do it, and it should be free as long as it's not physical damage from being dropped.
Yep.
I'm like, shit.
Yep. Well,
And the guy at the store is like, I wouldn't even mention the hinge. I would just talk about the bubble.
yeah. There you go.
So I talked to Ubreak iFix. They have the pieces in. I can take it over there, but I don't. I'm like, we have insurance. It's under warranty. I'll just do it through AT&T. I call them back. I'm on the phone for another hour with the AT&T people.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's like, well, let's start troubleshooting. Can I text you a link? I cannot use the phone. All right, well, we'll skip that step. Let's go to the next troubleshooting. I go, you don't understand. I need a new phone. Oh, well, I guess we'll just skip all the troubleshooting. I'm like, yes, let's skip it.
Yeah. Just, oh my God.
And so after that, it was repeating everything like 4 times. And
Oh my God.
2 hours on the phone with them, half an hour in the store.
Oh my God. Of what you had to stop to call Samsung so they can tell you it's on the back of the phone that you can barely see.
Yeah.
Because how else would you have known it was on the back of the phone? You don't know that.
No.
Everyone for EIM, it's always in the settings. It's in the phone once
Yep.
you're in there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't have access to it. So yeah. Oh my God! What a nightmare.
So as a result of all that, I'm drinking a 4 Hands Hazy Super Sodie.
Yeah, Hazy super. Yeah, you need a road Sodie right there.
Yep.
Oh my
Well,
God.
that's what this is based off of. The can of the first batch of this was like the blue and white cups that you would get at Quick Stops, like for fountain sodas. That's what the can looked like. So this one is a little different. It's red and white bubbles. I don't know if you can see it very well.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's supposed to look like those soda cups still, but a little bit different. It's a double dry hop, double IPA, 8% ABV. They put food pairings, and this pairs well with cheese puffs and beef jerky.
Nice. Well, come on. That's what you would want to pair it up with, especially the beef jerky part.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it's a solid beer. It's got hints of pineapple to it, which I kind of forgotten about.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I would have said that you probably need to go see if you can find one of your 13% beers or something like that for
Yeah. I almost thought about it.
Wow. What a nightmare. What a freaking nightmare. And we've all been there, done that. It's just dealing with any company now. It's the worst.
It is.
It's the worst. It's the downfall of our society, to be honest with you.
Yep. At least, like, if you deal with Amazon, because they messed up your order, they usually just like, well, just keep what we sent. We'll send a replacement.
Pretty much, because they're like, we got too much money anyway, so it doesn't matter. I mean, that's nothing to them.
Yeah.
And they're just going to take your phone and refurbish it anyway and resell it.
Oh, yeah.
So, wow. So, because now, was this just a straight up drop, or was she tossing it around again?
I think she just accidentally dropped it, and I think it was on the carpet.
And
So-
even with the case on it and everything,
It didn't
Still
have the case
nothing?
on it. But you would think on carpet it would be fine, but apparently these hinges are a problem with those type of phones.
well, I can
I'm
tell
being,
you
I'm being told right now it
I
wasn't on
told-
carpet. She just came down.
Oh, she's trying to defend herself.
I guess so. She must have known I was talking about the phone.
she could feel the force. There's a disturbance in the force of talking about her.
We could have been talking about a door. She said, what else is there that has hinges?
My sanity. It hinges on the brink of insanity.
So, yeah.
Wow. Well, can I see your broken phone and raise you a broken door handle on a car?
Oh, no. It figures.
Well, 2 days before that, or a day or two before that, I can't remember. I get home, and Jen had swapped out the car for the truck, and I'm like, why did she swap out the car for the truck? And then she gets home, and she goes, I don't know what's wrong with the car. I put it in reverse, and it died. I was like, wait, what? Well, I was able to at least, get it and put it in neutral and roll it, and when I pulled it out into the street so I could get out, and I didn't want the car to die on me when I went somewhere. So I'm like, oh my God, what now? What now? I go, it fires up fine. She's been driving it since.
Yeah.
Gremlins with an old ass car. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know, but knock on wood, it's running. It's fine. But then yesterday she gets home and she's calling me, and then she honks the horn to have me come outside. I go, what? What's wrong? It's running. What's wrong? And then she turns it off. She goes, I don't know what happened. I didn't do it. I was like, you're the only person in the car. You did something. What? She goes, she's holding the door handle, the interior door handle in her hand. It snapped off. She pulled it. I go, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be joking me. And I was just like,
did you point out that the common denominator in both these things was her?
No need. No need. But so yeah, man, I just go, and I'm like, I'm stressing a little bit, but she's like, hey, car's running. It could be worse. It's just a door handle, right? At least the car. And I was like, yeah, for sure. All you gotta do is roll down the window, reach outside, pop it. It still works that way. Because I go, Jen, I gotta order a part. I can't magically make a door handle appear. I gotta order it, and it'll get here, and I'll fix it. But you gotta wait until you get the damn part, because they don't just keep door handles around at O'Reilly's and stuff like that. You gotta actually, these are special parts that you gotta order.
You could just keep the window rolled down and slide across the hood and then climb in through the window.
Well, I was thinking about maybe drilling a hole in the exterior handle and tying a little rope, like a little piece of string, and feeding it through the window. And then when she's ready to go, kind of like pull on it a little way, so somehow that way. But no, I didn't do that. But then I look online trying to find a good used, or not even a used one, but just something that's affordable for it. I go to Toyota first, because this is one of the Toyotas, and from them directly from the dealer, it's like $48. I was like, it's a freaking piece of plastic. It's all it is. $48. I was like, okay, let's go OEM. Let's go with somebody else. Let's see if I can find it somewhere else. And I go to a reputable third party seller, and it's like 30 something to that. I was like, okay, well, there's save them almost $20 that way.
Yeah,
close. And I'm like, okay, well, and I'm like, okay, let me see if I can even go cheaper than that. So then I go to Amazon, which I bought stuff from Amazon before, and I've used eBay before too. But eBay is just, I didn't want to wait that long. I wanted the thing to get here sooner, because I don't want to have her waiting that long to open a door or using the window technique to get in and out. But I go and I look at Amazon, and I'm reading through these parts, and I don't even have a clue. These manufacturers are maybe China, maybe Pakistan, India. I don't know where these things are coming from. And I'm reading the reviews, and the first review that comes up is, it works and fits kind of. I'm like, oh God, I'm not dealing with kind of. This guy had he's like, well, if you take a bevel drill and you drill a hole slightly at an angle, and it's like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding. So I was like, no, I'm not dealing with it. I go for, there's the cheap, the middle, and the expensive. I usually live my life in the middle. I try to live my life in the middle area when I'm buying stuff like that. And so
did you try looking at like online salvage yards?
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, but it's I'm taking the approach where I'm at that point in my life where if there's a problem with it, buying it from a good reputable dealer where it's supposed to be a newer refab, not even a refab, but a replica of what you're supposed to be getting. Yeah. That way, if it sucks, I can just ship it back. Yeah. Screw it. I don't want to deal with having to do where if it's a salvage yard, once you buy it, you're done. Yep. I didn't want to have to do that part of it. So, but yeah, that was that was the car issue of the week. There's always something, dude. It's always something.
At least that was minor, right?
Oh, well, yeah, for whatever it could be, for sure. So, oh, I thought you get a kick out of that. I was like, I wonder if every week you're wondering what's it going to be this time.
That's just going to be a new segment on the show.
Every time, right?
Yep.
If there's and then when there's something that doesn't go wrong, you're like, oh man, show screwed.
Yeah. Well, now we have to fill 10 minutes.
Right, exactly. I'm always good for a good 10-minute story about something wrong with my life, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's too funny, dude. Well, I'm glad that your efforts, it appears that you're gonna get your new phone there for your daughter, because yeah, she needs that. So you guys are using the Life 360 is what you're doing?
Yeah, we're going to, because it does stuff like tell like how fast the cars are going that she's riding in.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's the main reason we're getting
my sister, she was spying on my niece when she would be driving to school out in Indy, and she'd be like, "You're going 90 miles an hour. You need to slow down." So in some ways, okay, and see, Jen and I have been debating the Life 360 thing. Like we're getting to that point too. I think where eventually when he starts driving on his own, maybe it's important to have it. But then again, I'm like, we didn't have it, and is it an invasion of privacy or is it a safety thing? You know, all that stuff. And do we trust our kids? Do we not? You know, we debate it.
Yeah.
And everyone, and you're like every other family right now. If the technology's there and it's a peace of mind thing for you and your wife as a family, why would you not do it? You can sleep better, or you're at least you're able to function better knowing that your daughter's safe. That's really what it's about.
Yeah.
But it does bring up conversation points where you're like, you want them to be on their own and hope that the values you've instilled in them to make good decisions and be safe on their own, versus you're all so stupid. The generations behind, we're just getting dumber and dumber as a species. And we can't trust anybody to do anything right these days. So
I think
where's
about
that fine balance?
I think about the fact of all the stupid stuff I did at their age.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe I can keep them from being as stupid as I was.
Hopefully.
But
Yeah, that's the goal, right? That's always the goal.
But I feel like I'm failing, so.
Well, you did tell her, don't toss the phone. Don't toss the phone. Look what just happened after you tossed the phone.
So I don't know if I told you this, but a couple weeks ago I went to a baseball game with my mom, and we were talking about grades. And I look at her and I go, I am sorry for my middle school years. Because the exact same thing is happening. That happened to my parents. So,
as far as your grades were,
yeah, because I was the kid that never did homework and would ace the test, and I would always get in trouble though because my grades were like all C's, and I was smart enough to do better. I was just lazy.
Well, not lazy. You made a decision to do other things you'd rather do with your time.
Yeah. And so we've run into that with one of the kids.
Yeah.
But we can go online and see, like, up to the minute how everything's doing.
Uh-huh.
Kaylee, you have a D in art. Why haven't you turned these 4 assignments in? It's art class. Well, I'm having problems uploading them because they have to do it all through the computer. And I'm just like, ask for help. Well, talking to my teachers gives me anxiety. I don't care. Ask me for help. I work in IT. I can figure it out for you.
I'm pretty sure I can learn how to upload a thing.
Yeah.
I can do that much. Whatever happened to, here's a drawing I did.
Yeah.
And in a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And so I'm having problems uploading it for the system.
Yeah.
You upload it, teacher. If you want it on there so bad, here you go. You do it.
They do a piece of art, they take a picture of it, they upload it.
Yeah. And then that goes back to what we were just talking about with Life 360. As far as the instantaneous, we have access to every little information part of their life. But then again, you're also taking the approach of when there's a problem, you want them to fix it because they're going to have to. It's about becoming a mature adult, and this is part of the maturing process of telling them, hey, there's going to be uncomfortable moments of interaction with people throughout your entire life. You're going to have to get over that. You're going to just have to, grit your teeth and just do it.
Yeah.
No, but I don't want it. And then you get so frustrated, you're like, fuck it, I'll do it. Just to get it out of your hair. But I know, trust me, you deal with plenty of the same stuff as far as
these
kids with, as far as that they're the access to help that they have, as far as there's no excuse to not succeed in school anymore, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah.
With as many resources they have, and if they really wanted the help and they go to their teacher, there's not really that many teachers out there that say, no, I'm not going to help you. Now, mind you, it might not be at the convenience of the person asking for the help.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, because you're asking for their extra time. You need to adjust to whatever they want to do and figure out a time that works. And it might mean sacrificing your sleep or your free time.
Yeah.
One of the two. And you're going to have to just deal with it.
So in 6th grade, the teachers have said, look, every day after school, there's a teacher here. If your student's falling behind, they can stay after school, and we will have them come in and we'll work with them. It might not be their teacher. It might not be the specific subject they need, but we can all help out.
Yeah.
And Will has come to me a couple times, and he's like, could I just go? I'm like, I'm glad you want to go, but you've got everything turned in. You're doing fine. You don't necessarily need to do that. I mean, I told him, like, if you're struggling to understand something, then you'll want to do it. But you're not having a problem with that right now.
Maybe it was a matter of socialization. Maybe his friends there and he's supposed to hang out, kind of thing.
No, I don't think so. I think he just wants to be comfortable that he does know it all. But
that's good. Well, good on him. That's awesome.
Yeah.
My kid's at his school. He has the same thing. As far as it's called the learning center or something like that. It's the same thing. It might not be your specific teacher, but there's a teacher that can help you.
Yeah.
Because when they come to us for help, like my son, he was working on it's Algebra 2 or something like that, I think is what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
It reminds me of calculus, to be honest with you, as far as the graphing functions and things like that.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing, f of x, f of x equals and domain and range and all this stuff. I'm like, it rings a bell, but bro, you're trying to make me remember math I did over 20 years ago at this point. And I was really good at math. Like I excelled at it, and especially excelled at it in college in regards to my calculus class. I did really, really well at that. But I had one-on-one attention with my teacher because I took it in the summer because I'm smart. Yeah. You take those kind of classes in the summer when you don't have as many kids there and you can get their attention a lot better.
Yeah.
But I was like, buddy, you're going to have to go ask teachers. I can try to help you best I can, but there's people that do this all year round that are experts at this stuff. You're going to have to ask for help. So... yeah, but there's no excuse. There's too many resources these days for these kids to. But I love the fact. Could you imagine going to your parents back when you were a teenager and go, "I have anxiety about something." There was no such thing as anxiety when we were kids.
Oh no,
I just don't think it existed. It was either you do it or you. I don't know. You suffer the consequences, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, I kind of told my kids that, but more as a look. These options are out here for you. Use them. I didn't have those options.
Exactly.
And my life would have been so much better.
Yeah. And I also am a firm believer in education where we had a principal that was like this before he left. As soon as we got to the school, like the next year, I was so upset he left. But the principal is also a matter of putting the onus on the children where it's their, like as far as turning the homework. If they don't turn the homework, you can't be the mom or dad that drives up to school and brings it to them because they forgot it. Or like you said, I'll upload it for you or stuff like that. But I also understand where we're going with society is competition for everything is getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
And getting not even getting ahead in life, but just surviving in life. It seems like it's so much competition for every little step they take, where if you let them fall behind a little bit, you feel like as a parent, you're letting them down and you're going to be setting them up for failure. And then there's plenty of success stories about, hey, they weren't a great student. They almost flunked out of high school, stuff like that. But I'm like, for every awesome story about a kid that was like that, there's millions of other stories where you don't hear about the other kids that were actually, well, no, they're super brilliant and they're really good at school and they're just as successful kind of thing.
He didn't do good in school, but he hosts his own podcast now.
There you go, right?
It's funny you mentioned that, though, because I've been up at school probably once every other week bringing something up to Will. His Chromebook, most of the time, he forgot his clarinet one day on a band day. And it's just like, my mom probably would have done the same thing at the time. So,
Yeah.
but it just makes it easier that we're working from home, because otherwise I'm like, sorry, dude, you're out of luck today.
Yeah, if it was all still a traditional set at work these days, you would be totally you'd totally be out of luck. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like, I can't leave the office, go home, go drive there, and get back. All that stuff. It's just no, it doesn't work. There's not enough time to do all that stuff.
No, I used to have to do that back in our old State Farm days, though,
Yeah.
because of car seat.
Oh God.
When we had one car seat and we'd forget to switch it.
Oh my God.
That probably happened like
Remind
3
you,
times.
now remember, our parent, there was no such thing as car seats, and yet
Nope.
we still survived. We still survived somehow. I don't know how we survived, but we still did.
Yep. So going back to Live 360, yeah, that wasn't around back then for us, but we're also in a much different world.
Oh God, yeah. Oh gosh, where kids are growing up way too fast.
Yeah.
And here's the funny thing, in the world that we used to grow up in, where if a parent wanted to get a hold of you, they knew how to get a hold of you. They would know how to, they would know, like, hey, you'd have to go, hey, you don't leave the house unless I know where you're going to be at. And if you're not there, oh, that's your ass.
Yep.
Versus these days, well, it's like, it doesn't really matter because I can get a hold of you wherever you're at. So I mean, it's just different. It's the same but different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what we're going to do. It's one of those things where I get it. I understand it. It's going to be different, especially when you're worried the whole time about, hey, when they start getting jobs and they're staying out late because they're driving home late in the dark, and it's just like, and you can't go to bed until you know they're home safe, kind of thing. That's what's coming. That's the different stress. So instead of not sleeping because they're crying and they're little infants, now you're not sleeping because now you're waiting to make sure they make it home. That's going to be the big difference now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to apologize to my mom for that in a couple of years, probably too.
Oh, I was the worst about that. But my mom never slept anyway. So
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. Plus I was the youngest. So see, you're the oldest. That's why
Yes.
it was worse for you. See, with me being the youngest, I didn't care as much.
Yeah. I'd come home at 2:00 and they'd be like, your curfew is midnight. I'm like, sorry, I won't do it again. Next weekend, same thing.
Yeah, right.
Which is funny because, like, I didn't drink a lot in high school. I did a lot in college, but when Kevin graduated high school, was when I graduated college, he had friends over that spent the night because they were going to stay there and drink. I'm like, what was this for me?
At that point, they were done because they were done with you and your other brother. They were just done.
Yeah, my mom found out the truth a couple years later right after Dad passed. She was having a bunch of friends over, and she's going through her bottles of booze because they were going to be drinking when people were there. She pulls out a bottle of whiskey. I'm like, apple juice? She pulls out a bottle of vodka. Mike goes, water?
Water.
She's like, do I have anything downstairs? And we're like, no, probably not.
Oh, the joys of it all.
Yeah. She can laugh about it now.
Yeah, I'm curious what our parents would do if they were in our situation, or if the roles reversed, where they had to raise us during the times that are now. Because it's true, you're right, man. These kids just grow up so fast, and it's just a different world where everything moves a lot faster. Kids are maturing way faster. They're experimenting way sooner with everything.
Yes, and then you get to the point where your daughter's out, and you're worried about the guy she's with.
Yep.
But then,
that exists no matter what. But yeah,
but probably more so, especially at high school age. But then the flip side is, my son's going to be going out, and he could be falsely accused.
Exactly.
So I mean, there's no easy way to deal with it on either side of it.
Oh well, they could be like my son and just not leave their room ever and not be involved with any people at all.
Yeah. I kind of wish for that at times.
There's always another option, Jay. Oh, there's another option, but there's a whole different.
No, see,
whole different circumstances for that.
my kids are that, but they're polar opposite too. Because if they're at home, they're in their room, but they want to go. Hey, can I go to so and so's house after school? And then we won't see you until dinner time when we go pick you up, and then it's straight back to the room. So we either don't see them here or we don't see them away.
What's teenage years though? So that speaks back to be honest with you.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, that's the thing we always go back to. It's like, well, there's a football game. Yeah, when we were in high school, we wanted to go to the football game too. So The big question now is, do we just require them to stay home one night on the weekend just to hang out with family until they start working? Because, I mean, we still try to watch movies. We still watch whatever Marvel show's coming out as a family.
Yeah. See, and yeah, we need to do better about that. Our I don't know. They just don't like anything that we do as far as me is concerned. So we don't want to hamper what they like doing. So we can't do things.
But we have
to do family outings and stuff like that. It gets harder.
Yeah.
It gets harder as I get older. That's for sure.
Yeah, we have to find a balance on like what kind of movies we watch because Kaylee doesn't like action movies. She likes horror movies. Well, the other two can't sit through a horror movie because it literally scares the crap out of them.
Yeah.
So, we figure it out though.
Yeah. Oh, the joys of having a family, sir. The joys of it all.
No, yeah.
It's nothing but stress. Nothing but stress and
pretty much.
Yeah, no, it's so crazy what you said in regards to what the things you have to worry about now. Where, I'm sure back when our parents were going through it, as far as I guess back then teen pregnancy was a big deal, or AIDS was a big deal, even sexually transmitted disease was a big deal. Nowadays it's pregnancy and rape.
Yeah.
or like you said, it's falsely accusing a guy of raping, or these kids now, they have access to on their phones, and it's harder to monitor that kind of stuff. But they're probably watching pornography way young, and they're thinking that that's what a relationship looks like.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God, you kids are just not. It's not what real life is, and they live out in that social world where everything's on Instagram, and everything on Instagram looks like it's amazing, and Facebook looks amazing, or you have Snapchat where they take the naked pictures and it goes away, and that way knowing there's no proof that you did it or something like that. And I'm just like,
except they're all sitting on a server someplace.
See, yeah, right. And
but,
so it's like,
and then the other thing is bullying. I mean, yeah, there was bullying when we were kids,
sure,
but everyone now can be a keyboard cowboy and say whatever they want.
Yep.
And then if you say it to the wrong person online, a person you might not even know.
Yeah.
And
then they show up to school with a gun the next day.
Or they don't show up anywhere.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. All these different things these kids got to deal with. It's just like, I don't know. You can't put them in a protective bubble, that's for sure. They haven't experienced the world, but they're experiencing the world at a much harsher way, I think, and I feel bad for them. It's just they don't have the freedom or the safety that maybe things were bad when we were kids and we just weren't exposed to it. But
yeah,
it just felt like the world was it wasn't as harsh. It was rough, but it wasn't harsh. And this world is very, very harsh.
Well, and the flip side is we grew up in that, and now we're trying to parent in this.
Oh, I know, right?
Which
this is a whole different thing. Where, a kid starting a rumor on Facebook or starting a rumor on Instagram or however to work, whatever social media they want to do, that could ruin a kid.
Yeah.
It could, and it sticks around. It's not like it goes anywhere. And no matter how hard school boards or parent groups or the school itself tries to squash that and try to, create a community within the school that's all accepting and whatnot, that's just not how society runs. That's not how it ever will be. No matter how perfect of a utopian society they want to imagine it could be, it's just never going to happen. And you just got to do the best you can as far as just raising your kids with good morals and values. And then the ones that are not raised that way, they get weeded out at some point. You know, they won't succeed. That's for sure.
So you want to hear really crazy? My nephew goes to a school in West County. He was homeschooled for a year, and he's going back. He's in middle school, I think, for the first time. So he's in 8th grade.
8th grade, okay.
So he doesn't have a lot of the relationships the other kids have. And so his parents went to the principal and the counselor to talk to him about it, and the principal flat out said, look, he's going to be an outcast because of his religious beliefs.
Yeah.
He tries to be a good kid. He has a moral compass, and he allows that to dictate what he does. And the school just flat out said, sorry, he's going to be an outcast because of it.
And he was homeschooled his entire life until 8th grade?
No, he wasn't. I don't think 6th grade was in the middle school for them. I don't know. Maybe it was. But in 7th grade, he was homeschooled because they had issues with the school, but other parents that were doing the homeschooling with him pulled out. They couldn't do it still, so they sent the kids back to public school. And now he's struggling to fit in because...
Well, being a solutions-based person, I always go, well, if it's a religious thing, why not put him in a Christian school?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a sacrifice for the family. And as far as, everyone always goes, the affordability, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah. But sometimes if that's what's important to you and that's, what you value over everything else, sacrifices have to be made. And scholarships and grants and volunteering and taking extra jobs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It all comes with the territory.
Yeah. It was just the fact the school didn't even put the effort there and just said, sorry, he's going to be an outcast.
I don't know. I'll rebut that with the moment. Did you really expect anything better? From a public school?
We've talked to our school about one of our kids. Mm-hmm. They've had issues in the past with bullying, so much so that suicide has been mentioned. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we wanted the school to be involved. And last year, there were issues with the counselor, and I think it was more not necessarily believing the severity of it. Mm-hmm. And so Aaron said something to the school principal, and the school principal said, well, that's unacceptable. And so this year, at the beginning of the year, we met with her teachers. We met with her grade counselor, her grade principal, and the school principal, and they've all worked with us. Mm-hmm. And we've been in contact with them since then, and they're watching out for her, helping her build relationships. It's hard to deal with, but our school has been...
Look at all the effort you had to put into it, though.
Yes.
It wasn't just a simple send an email and expect it to be fixed.
Right.
No, it's like you said, going up to the school in person, meeting with people multiple times, multiple different people.
Yeah.
Also probably having to document things that probably happened, or keeping... Because, if it turns into a he said, she said thing, the principal's hands are tied. But it's also a matter of, look at all the legwork you have to do these days.
Oh, yeah.
Just to be in a good environment.
But they saw what we put into it and how it's been a benefit this year. Yeah. And their school, rather than helping with it, just said, sorry, he's going to be an outcast.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is.
That's crazy. It shouldn't be that way. Everyone can agree on that. It shouldn't be that way.
No, it shouldn't.
I'm taking the approach of it doesn't shock me. Yeah. It doesn't surprise me.
Well,
you're not going to get a reaction on me that goes, "Oh my God, really?" No, I'm like, "Oh, that makes sense to me," because that's just the way it is these days.
Well, and the flip side of it too is there are so many parents that aren't involved, and that the teachers are left to kind of fill that role, and it gets exhausting for them at the same time because. Yeah, they'll have a class of 20 kids. Well, if even 4 of them don't have parents that are involved, that's just so much extra stress for them.
Oh, yeah.
So I can see that side of it where the teachers don't want to get involved, but I think we have a good core of teachers for...
Well, it's also a matter of the parents have also created a society where it makes it harder for a teacher to want to be that parental figure in their life, because the last thing they want to do is, I felt the kid needed a hug. Well, now you touched them, and stuff like horror stories like that, or just anything that makes their job harder of trying to be what a teacher should be, which is a safe place for those kids to be.
Yeah,
these teachers are underpaid, and they don't want to deal with the politics of it all. And they could get fired for it. They could get reprimanded, suspended, anything that doesn't fit into their little square box of a perfect world that doesn't exist. And they're just like, my hands are tied. I can't do anything anymore. They don't have that freedom to really be the teacher they need to be.
Right. And that was part of the reason Erin isn't a teacher now, because she did a permanent sub role where the teacher was on a maternity leave. Mm-hmm. And she just got so invested in some of these kids' lives, and she's like, I'm not even their teacher, I'm just there for like 3 months. Mm-hmm. And I can't stop thinking about these kids. What's it going to be like where I have to do this year in, year out with every group of kids?
Oh yeah.
Yep. So it's helped me because she's the breadwinner.
Soul to do that. You gotta. I don't know how they do it, and I don't know. It's impossible to create the perfect world those teachers need to be able to really be successful in what they want to accomplish with these kids. I don't know. Because because to be honest with you, the success of the child, from what I've discovered and what I'm sure any good parent would say would be, for the kid to be successful in school, it's a partnership not only between the parent, the teacher, it's a partnership between the parent and the entire school.
Yep.
Somehow being the kids that do really well are their parents are visible at school.
Yeah.
You see them picking them up, or you see them volunteering for extra things that happen that the school's involved with, or they're up there meeting with teachers after school, before school, working with counselors, stuff like that.
Hey, we've gone as far as buying school lunch one day back during the pandemic, just as a sign of appreciation for what they've done.
Yeah, because I could share a story. The new principal at our school this year, because we've been having a problem since our original principal quit a couple years ago. We've been playing musical chairs, or the revolving door with principals, where we had one, he lasted one school year, then quit. Then we got another one. She lasted 2 years, and then she quit. She just flat out, nope, done. And I don't think it had anything to do with the kids are horrible, the parents aren't great, or, it's just, I think people are just dealing with things like, they're like, I'm a teacher, I can go find a job anywhere. I can do, if I don't want to work at this school, I can go get one somewhere else.
There's a lot of politics in school too.
Oh yeah. Because so our 8th grade teacher last year is now the principal of the school. So they hired from within, which is great, and everyone loves this guy. He's actually really good, super smart, very, very kind, really loves the kids, is there for the right reasons and all that stuff. It's his first year, and he came in a year where it just so happens where a lot of teachers, they just retired. They were due to retire. They just like, hey, I've been here, I'm old. It's time for new blood to come in. Or there's other teachers that just moved on, or they just got out of the like we had one teacher, she's like, I can't afford to do this. I need a job that pays more. It was straight up just money. It really was. It's not that she didn't love the kids, because she was actually an alumni. She went to the school and she came back to teach at the school. Yeah. And they just didn't pay her. So she's like, I'll go work at Boeing. She gets paid better at Boeing. So stuff like that. Just getting out of the industry altogether. And so this year, one guy's already quit. He didn't even get to the first quarter. He made it a quarter. Wow. Brand new teacher, brand new to the school. I think he had a teaching certificate. He's still like in school working to graduate, but he has a teaching certificate, right? And then, so he's quitting. And then there was this big fiasco with the Spanish teacher, where the Spanish teacher was making grades based on the class, not the individual student. So if a student didn't want to do like an oral exam and speak something fluently in Spanish or whatever, the whole grade or the whole class got their grades knocked down. And people were like, wait a minute. If this is supposed to be a taught, not graded class, first of all, but even if it is a graded class, why does my kid get punished for another kid not wanting to do the classwork, stuff like that? And so it turned into a whole big thing, like the whole thing. And this poor principal is dealing with upset parents about it. And because, well, there's a whole other, there's politics, we'll say that. Yeah. And then today we get another email. The Spanish teacher has now quit. I just like, you know what? Okay. This poor guy. I feel so bad for this principal. It's just one of those things where you want to send the principal an email going, you're doing great. You're doing the best you can with what you got. You're dealing with the hand you got dealt. Yep. So, yeah, man, it's crazy. I couldn't believe it. I just been laughing all week because two teachers quit. Didn't even get through a quarter of the one school quarter, because I think the quarter ends this week or something like that. Wow. And then put in their resignation before the quarter was even over. How do you deal with that as a principal? Versus when we were in school, the teachers were there till they died, basically. I mean,
pretty much, yeah. Some of them might even died at school.
It's just, well, they had tenure. They secure jobs. You're not going to lose your job as long as you're doing an okay job. You're not going to lose it. So you had job security, which that's what's changing about society a lot. To be honest with you, I don't think people believe in or care about job security anymore.
No.
It's the only thing for them, and I think we're kind of caught in a generation between the two.
Yeah,
because our parents, that's all they cared about. They wanted they got the good paycheck as long as they stayed with the company for 30, 40 years, then retired with the gold watch or whatever, right?
Yep.
That whole thing. And then our generation is like, well, that's what they did. But then we're also now around for the younger generation that's about 20 years younger than us, and they can't stay at a job for more than 6 months, it seems.
Yeah.
And they're hopping on to the next thing, the next best thing, no matter what.
Yeah.
So,
or I mean, contracting is so big right now. Well, I'll work here for 18 months and move on to the next job.
Yeah. Well, because then a lot of that has to do with the fact that a lot of the younger people, they're not getting married young. They're getting married in their 40s now,
yeah.
Or late 30s, 40s, not having families. So they're mobile. They can go, okay, I can't find a job here in St. Louis. I'll go find a job in Chicago. I'll just move there, stuff like that. Versus the thought of us having to move our entire family to somewhere else, that's a big deal. That's not just a quick, easy decision to make. That you're uprooting lives.
Yep.
If you're not military lives, that's different. But because that's just part of the gig. But versus other people, it's not really as common. So yeah, man, I don't know. It's just a weird world we live in.
It is
weird. So
all right,
wow, look at us. We're talking like adults. I don't like this.
I know. Let's go to the fun stuff.
Is there time for fun stuff?
Yeah. I make time for it.
Oh, hey, all this started, I want to let you know, this whole thing started with your daughter dropping a phone. Talk about a butterfly effect.
I know. I'm cracking another beer because of it.
Oh, boy. I'm stressed out. This world's stressing me out, man.
So, yeah. Another Four Hands beer, another IPA from them. It's called Glennon Live. A portion of the sales go to Cardinal Glennon Hospital.
Oh, awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Go on then.
A blueberry IPA.
Ooh. Going from pineapple to blueberry. You're very fruity tonight, dude.
Very.
Very fruit infused.
I've been called fruity before.
Other reasons. Yeah. So, hey, before you get started, though, can I ask, before we even get to homework?
Yeah.
Did you get through Did you start Dahmer at all?
I am 2 episodes in. I went to high school football last weekend with Madeline. They had an 8th grade night, and Aaron wanted something to do, so I said, well, just go on and watch it. I'll catch up.
Okay.
And I haven't gone back.
So she's plowing through it then.
Well, she's only through 3 episodes. I'm through 2.
Okay. So okay, we'll circle back. I've been anxious to ask to see if you actually watched it yet. But we'll go over that when we get to that part of it. What did you have any topics you want to go over?
Not really. I mean, right before we started recording, Comic Book Resources said Harrison Ford is our new General Thunderbolt Ross.
Really? So it's official?
I guess so for the Thunderbolts.
Okay. If he brings his A game, he's going to be great. I mean, it's Harrison Ford. I think he's amazing.
I think he's so different from William Hurt, though. It's going to be noticeable. It's not. I think like the jump from Terrence Howard to Don Cheadle wasn't that noticeable. They played the character kind of the same way. I'm going to see Harrison Ford, and I'm going to think Indiana Jones or Han Solo.
Yeah.
And the way he talks with his mumble.
Well,
I think might be noticeable.
I'm hoping for actually to be. I'm gonna say no. Take a pause on that. I'm hoping for the Harrison Ford that is Jack Ryan from Clear and Present Danger and
Patriot Games.
Patriot Games. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Or maybe even Air Force One. Have him be presidential in a way like that.
But I mean, it's been 20 years since he's done a role like that.
I know. He's gonna have to dig deep. He's gonna have to show up. He can't phone this in.
I just see him.
My concern is he's gonna phone it in. That's my biggest concern. He's gonna phone it in, dude.
I don't know if I'd say he's gonna phone it in, but he's just so old and grizzled that the only time I see him now, I think of Ralph Garman's kind of mumbling, and I think that's what we're gonna end up seeing in the role.
to try and stay positive with it, though, how about we weren't expecting much, I guess, from Michael Douglas in Ant-Man. I thought he was great in both of them. He was surprising to me. That was very surprising, to be honest with you.
I no, I don't think so, because he, even before that, he was still doing different kinds of roles, and he was still acting a lot.
Okay.
Can you name anything Harrison Ford has done before Force Awakens? I mean, the last Indy.
Was he in something since Force Awakens? Has he been in anything since that?
Yeah, let's see here.
Because if he has been, it wasn't memorable enough to say that he was actually in it.
I still have Shia LaBeouf pulled up from last time.
Which one?
Shia LaBeouf.
Okay.
We talked about him fairly recently.
Yep.
Where's the search bar? There. All right. So we could just go right into a Harrison Ford filmography.
Could do that. Go for it.
All right. It's pulling up. So I do know his first movie was the George
Graffiti?
Yeah, George Lucas. And that he was a carpenter on the set and brought in for that. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole reason he got Han Solo as well, because...
Correct. Because of the prior relationship.
Right. And then Indiana Jones after that. All right. Mm-hmm. I guess he does have a few small things on here.
Is Indiana Jones 5 done filming?
I don't know if it's done. I know they're in the process. Last I heard, they were in the process. Okay. So he had done stuff before American Graffiti. Mm-hmm. Like, mostly a lot of TV work where he showed up for an episode or two. So, like, he was on 2 episodes of Gunsmoke, Mod Squad, a lot of stuff I haven't heard of. But, yeah, his first big role was American Graffiti. Mm-hmm. He was in Kung Fu for an episode. Mr. Harrison. But then, yeah, New Hope was his big break.
That's his big break, yeah.
Yeah. He was in Apocalypse Now. I think it was a bit role, and he got it because of his relationship with George Lucas. Lucas was supposed to do American Graffiti, was supposed to do Apocalypse Now, passed on it, and Francis Ford Coppola did it.
Could you imagine George Lucas doing Apocalypse Now? That just doesn't mix for
that.
Me.
That was going to be his follow-up to Star Wars. But I just
don't see him in that role.
Yeah,
or as a director of that movie.
Yeah, I was reading about it. I read an oral history of Star Wars, and that was one of the things. He had a production company with Francis Ford Coppola that ended up failing, but Apocalypse Now was his project that he passed on to Francis Ford Coppola.
Interesting. Okay.
So he did Empire, he did Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then Blade Runner.
Yeah.
And then Jedi and Temple of Doom. After that, he kind of bounced around and did a few smaller movies. He did Working Girl, Last Crusade, Presumed Innocent, Regarding Henry.
Those two, that was him trying to go after the Oscars with those two.
Yeah. Then he did Patriot Games,
which is amazing.
Yep. He did 1 episode of the Young Indiana Jones Chronicle.
Was who starred in that? That was the guy that was in I
want to say River Phoenix, but River Phoenix did it in...
He was in the movie. Yeah, he was Young Indy in the movie.
Sean Patrick Flannery.
Yeah, from
Boondock Saints.
Irish, the brothers. Boondock Saints. Thank you. Yeah, that's who it was. That's right, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
But Harrison Ford actually made an appearance in it.
Yes, as old Indiana Jones.
Of course. I didn't know. I'd never watched the show religiously. I think I watched an episode or two, to be honest with you.
I didn't
watch it religiously.
And again, going back to that book, because of how they shot that TV show, gave George Lucas the confidence that he could go back and make the prequel for Star Wars. Using digital photography and going around to multiple sets.
Okay.
So that's why a lot of the prequel trilogy was so heavily... It's like... there was so much of the green screen instead of practical effects like the original trilogy. It was because they were able to perfect it with Young Indiana Jones.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
No.
Okay.
And then he followed that up with The Fugitive.
Great. God, what a great role.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was amazing. Although, I guess you could say, what's his name?
Tommy Lee Jones.
Kind of stole, he stole the show on that one.
Yeah, he really did.
Still, Harrison Ford was great in it.
Yeah, but how many times have we heard it wasn't me, it was the one-armed man because of that role?
Yeah. I always follow that with that. I don't care about that role. I always, my favorite line of that movie is, I don't care. That's the best line in the movie.
It is. It's pretty good.
I'm innocent. I didn't kill no one. I don't care.
Yeah. All right. Then we got Clear and Present Danger.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went to Sabrina.
Oh, wow. Sabrina.
Yeah.
Oh, remake, right? That's a remake.
Yes, it was. And then The Devil's Own.
Devil's Own.
I'm trying to think what that was. Was that? I want to
was
say it
that
was
a
Brad
bombing movie?
Pitt. Brad Pitt was Irish,
Yeah.
an IRA guy that lives with him. Yeah.
Okay.
Very, very much in the Patriot Games Clear and Present Danger vibe.
Yeah. I consider that the poor man's Blown Away. I don't know if you remember that movie.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
remember Blown Away?
Yeah,
Love
that was
that movie.
Bruce Willis.
Great movie. No. Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
I believe.
Yeah.
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 And Forrest Whitaker. Remember Forrest Whitaker was in it?
Oh, of course.
Oh, my boy Forrest. Samurai dog. What's up?
Yep. All right. After Devil's Own was Air Force One.
Great movie. With the villain being again was it Gary Oldman?
Gary Oldman. Yeah.
He stole the show on that one.
Yep. But he does in most movies he's in.
Correct. Absolutely.
And then we had 6 Days, 7 Nights.
That was with Anne Heche, right?
Yeah, they got stranded on an island together.
Didn't he date her for like a little bit in real life?
It might have. That seems about the right time.
Okay.
I don't know which way she was swinging at the time.
Depends on what day of the week it is.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Right.
Yep.
Oh wait, Anne Heche is dead?
Yeah, she's dead.
She died?
It was a couple months ago.
Really? What got her?
I don't know.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't know. I had no clue, to be honest with you.
All right. After that was Random Hearts. I remember it, but I don't think I ever saw it.
I know the name. I've heard the title before. I just don't remember what it was about.
Let's see. Harrison Ford, Kristen Scott Thomas.
Kristen Scott Thomas. God. She got big in the 90s for like 2 movies.
Yeah.
I think, if I remember correctly. English Patient, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so. Let's see.
I never saw that.
He's a police sergeant. She's a U.S. representative. They lose their spouses in a plane crash and soon discover that their spouses were having an affair with each other.
Ooh, sultry.
Very.
Sounds like a bad Nicholas Sparks book.
It does.
Sounds like.
After that was What Lies Beneath. That was actually a pretty good movie.
That's very good. Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah. And then K-19, The Widowmaker.
Nah, bad movie.
Don't remember it. Hollywood Homicide.
Horrible movie with Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Firewall. I don't know what that is.
I remember that one. Horrible movie. I think it came out around the same time Swordfish might have come out, and they were getting into the hacker kind of movie.
Looks like it was a few years later.
Okay.
Let's see, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, let's not discuss.
Yeah. He goes into that phase of let's skip it all because Crossing Over, I don't know what that is.
Never heard of it.
Extraordinary Measures, he plays a doctor in it. Don't know what that is either. And then he did Cowboys and Aliens.
I've heard that's actually not as bad as people made it out to be. I've heard that's like almost a cult classic at this point.
All right, I might have to go watch it because I've just totally avoided it because I heard it was bad.
That's Favreau, right? Am I remembering right? Favreau?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I've actually heard it's pretty decent. I need to go. I need to visit it. I've heard that it just at the time. At the time, it just wasn't that great. But if you go back and revisit it, it's heard decent things.
I had picked up the trade at one point and never read it, and then got rid of it.
Mm.
So then 2013, he's at the point where he did 52, where he was Branch Rickey. Really good in that role.
Yeah, 42, not 52.
42. Yeah.
Now, he was really great in that role. That was an amazing role for him.
It was. Paranoia?
Never heard of that. But if we get the Branch Rickey performance for Thunderbolt, that fits.
I would be happy with that.
Me too. Yeah, I'll take that. How long ago was that at this point?
That was 2013, 9 years ago. So by the time Thunderbolts comes out, that'll be 11 years. That's a long time for a guy his age.
Yep.
Let's see. Paranoia had Liam Hemsworth as the headliner, Gary Oldman, Amber Heard, and Harrison Ford.
Oh, God, Amber Heard was in it. There's your... Okay.
Yeah.
Nope.
An entry-level employee at a powerful corporation finds himself occupying a corner office, but at a dangerous price. He must spy on his boss's old mentor to secure him a multi-billion-dollar advantage.
Yeah, dangerous price, meaning that Amber Heard was going to come in there and poop on his desk.
Yeah.
What it was.
Let's see.
Oh,
after that, he did Ender's Game. Thought he was pretty good in that.
I never saw it, but I'm aware of it. Just never saw it.
Yeah.
Because you were into the book, I thought.
Yeah, the book was really good. The movie was okay. And then he's kind of hidden that little, let's have fun. He was in Anchorman 2 and Expendables 3.
I did not know that. I've never seen one Expendables movie.
Oh, they're so fun. The Michael Bay mindless action stuff, but with all the kids, all the actors from our youth.
Yeah, I have to visit those at one point.
Yeah. Let's see. The Age of Adeline. I don't know what that is.
I'm aware of that one. Yeah, that's Ryan Reynolds' wife. What's her name? Blake Lively, I think, is in that one.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. And then he's back into the let's revisit my career by doing Force Awakens and Blade Runner 2049.
Yep.
Voice in Secret Life of Pets 2.
Did not know that.
He showed up in Rise of Skywalker. He was the Force ghost that talked to. Yeah,
that's right. Yep, you're right. Yep.
And then,
to be honest with you, the episodes 7, 8, 9, right?
Yep.
It's hard to remember a lot of that, to be honest with you, because it's not like I revisit them very often.
Right. I mean, even with the prequels, they've been out so long, we've been able to revisit them a few times.
Yeah.
I think the only one I've rewatched was 8, The Last Jedi.
Of all the ones we watched, you rewatched that one, huh?
Well, I liked it enough just for the fact it was so different. The other ones were just rehashes of what's already happened.
Yeah.
Rian Johnson at least went out on a limb and tried to make a new story out of it, and I really like that.
Okay, and let's stay on Star Wars just for a second. I'm actually caught up on Andor, and I hate that I am.
Yeah.
Because after I think we're on episode 5, and I think 6 just came out, if I'm correct.
5 just came out.
Was it 5 just came out? Oh my god. Andor is so good. I love Andor.
I haven't seen.
It's not slow.
I haven't seen the last 2. Actually, no, you might be right. Because the first 3 came out, and then 4, 5, 6, I think.
Okay, so 5 is what I've seen. I think 6 just came out then.
Yeah, 6 came out today, I think. Yesterday. Yesterday, because She-Hulk came out today.
I do Disney. I treat Disney like TGIF Friday, because Disney has Andor, She-Hulk, and I begrudgingly watch the Mighty Ducks TV show.
My kids started watching it and they gave up on it.
It's so bad, Jay. It's so bad, but I just watch it because it's actually, there's one kid on there that cracks me up.
Yeah.
It's always the fat kid that cracks me up. He's great in his role. This kid's gonna be somebody. I'm telling you, he's hilarious.
Yeah, but is this fat kid gonna end up in jail in a few years like Goldberg?
No, they have 2 fat kids. Jay, there's 2 of them. There's 2 fat kids.
So he has a 50-50 shot of not going to jail.
Because of course the goalie had to be a fat kid. Of course, can't have an athletic goalie. Can't have an athletic goalie in a Disney movie. But no, this other one. There's two of them, and one the fact could go maybe he could definitely could be, but this other one he's hilarious. Now I think this kid's gonna be okay. I think he'll turn out to be. Hopefully, it goes into go the comedy route somehow because I find him to be hilarious. But yeah, I watch and then. But Andor's fantastic. They're doing the Star Wars shows. They're getting them right.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about a movie. I don't need a Star Wars movie, man. I'm okay. Keep giving me these TV shows. I'll be all right.
I like going to the theater to watch them. So give me sprinkle in the movies.
I'd rather I'm saying what I'd rather they do is take their time to find the right project.
Yeah.
And not just rush something out just to have a Star Wars movie come out.
Yeah.
Because we saw what happened when they did that with Solo.
See, I didn't mind Solo. I liked it better than all three of the sequel trilogy movies.
Solo's garbage.
No.
Nope, not for me. Garbage. I give it the official. It's hot garbage.
All right, I'm gonna pull us back to Han Solo.
Hold on, because if you're putting an excellence on a film of Star Wars, what have we been talking about the past couple of weeks?
What, Andor?
No, well, the movie he stems from.
Well, yeah, Rogue One is by far the best movie Disney's put out for Star Wars.
The bar at Rogue One, Solo, it's not even anywhere near that bar. It's so far below it. It's garbage.
Yeah, but then if you compare it to everything in the sequel trilogy.
Well, the sequel, that's a mess of its own. My point being, let's find the right project.
I agree with that.
And I'm not in any rush to find another movie to put in the theater. And then hopefully when they do find the right project, it'll be amazing when it comes out.
All right, I will say this about Solo. I went in with very low expectations with all the issues they had.
Okay.
So I was pleasantly surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did.
The actor was garbage.
He wasn't great.
Targaryen, she was garbage in it.
Yeah, but we had Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian.
That's the only, and he needs his own TV show.
Oh, he does. What they need is a show that jumps from Billy D. Williams to Donald Glover.
That'd be great.
Maybe Billy D. retelling the story with Donald Glover acting it out.
While sitting at a bar telling the story, right?
Sitting at a sabacc table.
Right, exactly. with his Colt 45.
Oh, of course. All right, so the last movie that Harrison Ford has done was Call of the Wild.
Yeah, that was a Disney thing, I think, with a dog.
Yeah,
and I bet you the dog gets hurt or dies or something like that, and they're gonna make us cry. That's all I know. It's Disney.
It was okay. It was okay. We watched it. Yeah, I don't think it was Disney though.
It wasn't okay,
it was. It went to theaters, but I think it was because it was 2020. It came out at streaming at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
okay. Well,
you know what you're getting with that movie.
I'm glad you did the filmography real quick because it didn't take too long to go through that. I'm glad you did that because if we can get the Branch Rickey performance for Thunderbolt, we'll be okay.
Yeah. I mean, even if it was the Call of the Wild performance, which was just okay, it's better than the caricature that Ralph Garman does.
Okay.
But I think what he does is more the interview Harrison Ford. I don't want to be here. Star Wars is stupid stuff.
Okay. Well, we can only hope. Let's. Hey, and Feige we trust, and hopefully Feige put in his his 2 cents on it. So
I'm sure he did.
Yeah. So all right. And we'll see. Did you see any other worthy news to discuss?
Not really. I mean, New York Comic Con was last weekend. Marvel didn't really unveil any movie stuff. It looked like most of the movie things that came out were Star Trek related.
Yeah.
Not all that interested in Star Trek shows, so.
Anything from an actual comic book standpoint?
I didn't look hard enough to see what was coming out, because really, only thing I'm really reading is the X-Men stuff, and I really don't want it spoiled. I know they made some announcements. I think one of them was around Magneto. I don't remember for sure now.
Ooh, okay. Oh, I did hear a rumor that Magneto is coming back. Or Ian McKellen as Magneto. I heard that's a rumor now.
I don't want the old actors to come back. I just want fresh at this point. And truthfully, let's go a couple movies without Magneto. He's been involved in every single movie so far.
Well, Sinister. Mr. Sinister, I think, is your next big...
Sinister would be great, and he'd be a guy that could be bigger than just the X-Men.
Yeah. I think that's the route I'd go. The only thing I heard out of New York Comic Con was DC-centric, Rebirth is officially done, right? And so they're going to do their next thing, that's like Rebirth.
So they're relaunching again?
Say what?
They're relaunching again?
I would assume so.
I guess it's only been about 10 years. I don't know.
Well, they both the big two, but they both do this when you had Marvel Now and all new, all different,
but at least when Marvel's done it, it's like a new jumping on point. It's not like we're going to erase everything.
They're not.
Oh, okay.
That's what this is. This is not like New 52 where we're relaunch. No, this is not a relaunch.
Well, because
this is just a
Rebirth was kind of a relaunch too for everything but Batman and Superman.
Rebirth was a relaunch because of the failure that was New 52.
Yeah,
that's debatable. That's debatable amongst a lot of people, to be honest with you. Excuse me. But no, this is not another New 52 relaunch. This is just a hey, like you said, a new jumping on point to say we've got. I mean, hell, I think there's some books that are on volume 10 in trades.
Yeah.
So they've officially taken the Rebirth banner off the books, kind of thing. That's where you're at now with stuff.
Yep.
So this is that, and I don't even know what's going to be called. I don't think they've given it an official name. It was a matter of the big news being, I think Superman's been off world for a while, and this is basically the biggest news to come out was I think it's going to be status quo for the Batman books, but they're relaunching the Superman family, and they're focusing on a Superman family of books now.
Okay,
where you've always had Action and Superman. And Supergirl, I guess, gets her runs here and there. I don't know who's really following Supergirl too much, but I don't even know if she's getting her book. But Son of Kal-El is going to be done. That book's ending after 18 issues, but it's not. But he's getting his own. He's getting a different thing. He's getting retitled, rebranded stuff. I think is really what they're going with him. I think Taylor's still going to write him.
But I saw Taylor say that the book wasn't canceled. That's been.
That's what people were saying. It's canceled, but it's not. It's rebranded. It's Son of Kal-El is ending because I think what they're trying to do is not call him Superman.
Right.
Because that's what they're calling, or they're not going to call him Son of Superman. And he's not going to be called Superman because I think that's what they were calling him in the universe because Superman was off world.
Well, and then eventually dead in this current crisis.
Yeah. So
quote unquote dead.
I haven't seen. I will be reading Dark Crisis at some point, and basically this is what this is. It's post Dark Crisis.
Yeah.
What's the world going to look like post Dark Crisis?
Yeah.
And so from what I heard was John will have his own new book. Superman will be there. I think Action Comics is going to be if I remember right. I guess wherever Superman was, there's two kids that he's bringing back with him to kind of replace the John storyline. And now, so you get the Superman family. There's going to be a family book, is what that is. I don't know if it's going to be Action or not.
So it's going to mimic the Superman and Lois TV show, then.
I guess I think that's what they're going with there, possibly. And I think Connor's going to probably come back in the fold somehow. I don't know if he's getting his own book as Superboy. I don't know.
I know he's back already because he's been in the Crisis stuff.
But he hasn't had a book, is what I meant. There hasn't been a Connor, because there was for a while there was a Superboy Connor centric book, right?
There've been a few, yeah. The last one I think was Lemire.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, that was before Infinite Crisis where he died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't remember the specifics of it. All I know is that the biggest announcements were it was Superman centric, trying to really capture and basically relaunch, saying this is our mantle. We're not. I think what they're trying to do is show. I think what they're trying to do is show WB Discovery that Batman's not our only product that we have that'll sell.
Yeah.
I think this is a big push. That's what I think, because I don't know. I'm not as caught up as I'd like to be, but apparently there hasn't been a solo Green Arrow book. Maybe is what they pulled away from Green Arrow. They pulled away from Aquaman. They pulled away from Green Lantern. They really pulled away from those books, and they're not printing as often as they used to. Maybe is what I read. I don't remember as much as I should to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there've been a few different Green Lantern books, but they're not really focusing on like the Hal Jordan stuff. I think it's more Jessica Cruz, whoever the other new ones are.
And I think what this is, I think this new, not a relaunch, but this new whatever
the new phase.
That they got going on, I think maybe they're going to kind of go, okay, we went out there and now we're going to come back and
let's come back to our core characters.
I think so. Yes. Come back. Great way to say it. Even Justice League, there's been rumors about, hey, who's going to be on the Justice League post Dark Crisis? And it's going to be the main seven. They're coming back. I think that's what they're going to try to do.
So are they going to demote Cyborg back down to Titans, or?
That's a great question. There's been rumors. Yeah, that's one of the big things was to say that. Yeah.
He's always felt out of place in the Justice League for me, just for the fact that everywhere else you look where they have Titans stuff, he's always involved there.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think it serves him well to be moved back down. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm curious. I'm really curious about what they'll call this. I don't know if they'll get another banner on the books. They'll say, not Rebirth, but
Rebirth,
post-Dark Crisis, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But it's funny though that for as much as you've not been enjoying Dark Crisis, it's been a big event. Apparently, it's been a big deal.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great ending point for Rebirth.
Yeah,
I think that's a great way to where you start with Rebirth and you end with basically the death of the Justice League, right?
Yeah.
And then now after post Dark Crisis, you're kind of just called again. We're going to be reborn into something else, right? And so I'm curious what they'll be doing.
Is it bad that I've had the 4th issue of Dark Crisis for the last month and I haven't read it?
No, just because you've been in your X-Men stuff and there's so much X-Men stuff, it's hard to keep it straight. To be honest with you, so I'm
even falling behind on that.
Plus,
so
you read actual like real books, so that stuff. So I mean that gets in the way too.
Yeah, a little bit.
So yeah, no, that's my only thing to contribute from New York Comic Con that I kind of caught.
Yeah.
So
I do remember what the X-Men thing was, and they're having a big Sinister crossover, and I think it's going to be bigger than just the X-Men.
Okay.
Because he's been plotting in the background for most of the Krakoa stuff, and it's really starting to come ahead where I'm at, about 3 months behind.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to see what they do with him.
See, and now I need to know. See, okay.
All right.
Bounce around a little bit.
Get out your list.
Well, because I find it funny. So I got through Mark Waid's Flash.
Okay.
The first volume of it.
Yeah.
Now having read that, and then thinking about Flash Reborn, Jeff Johns bringing Barry Allen back.
Yeah.
I now understand why people hated that so much. I really do. Because to a generation of people from the 90s until early 2000s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So over a decade, right?
Yeah.
Wally is their Flash.
Yeah.
And I get it now. I was like, what's the big deal? It's Barry. And now I totally get it where Wally is the character that I relate to more. Barry is very dry. I never realized how dry Barry is as a character. Wally's more Wally. I now understand the Wally-Dick relationship better in regards to their friendship.
Yeah.
Because those two, I get it now. They're both very light characters, and I don't mean light as in like they're not important. I mean light as in they're not brooding and dark and the world's an evil place. Those are not those two characters by any means. So
you want to know what's funny is you mentioned Green Lantern, and the first thing I thought of was Justice League needs to bring John Stewart back as the Green Lantern, because they're that same group of people that have Wally as their Flash have John Stewart as their Green Lantern because of the cartoon.
Be opposed to it. John and Hal are so interchangeable to me as far as who would I be interested in being the main Green Lantern of Earth, right?
Yeah.
I like either one, to be honest with you. I really do.
I always found John more interesting as a character than Hal. I thought Hal was kind of dry and boring.
Okay.
So,
but did you do the entire Jeff Johns run on the Green Lantern? Okay.
No, I'm not a huge Green Lantern guy, so
yeah, and then that might change your mind a little bit. But the funniest thing to take from that is you've gone and done reads of older books.
Yeah,
and this is not even that old. This isn't like a Golden Age or even a Bronze Age book. This is a 90s book.
Yeah, late 90s.
1990. The writing is so different. There's so much like these books these days. They're the action and the art really carry the story a lot more than the words do.
Yeah.
My God, the writers overwrote. Does that make sense to you? Like, there was just too much verbiage in these books that it takes forever to get through. So much exposition, and the art is beautiful. LaRocque was the artist for Waid, and I'm like, your art is dated. It looks like a 70s book or an 80s book, but I could also see it being a very 2000s book. They just changed maybe the color and the shading of it a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's hard to read and it's hard to look at. It really is. I've been so accustomed to modern comic books for such a long time.
So before Infinity War and Endgame came out, I reread the whole Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
And that is like the pinnacle of overwriting.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I might have the kids read this before they go see it so they truly understand.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, there's no way it's like a 11, 12-year-old would totally understand this. I don't know how I read this as an 11 or 12-year-old.
No, you probably didn't. You probably read most of it, but probably like more the pictures more than anything, I guess, would be hopefully what caught your attention.
I read the whole Infinity Gauntlet, the original.
Yeah.
As the sequel series came out, I kind of fell back, but man, it felt like a chore at times.
Yeah.
And so like when Matt,
and that's what this felt like. There's parts of this Flash book where it felt like a chore at certain points because there was no continuity of it.
Yeah.
From issue to issue, it didn't build like a run. It didn't build as one big story. They were individual anthology stories that had a sprinkling of a continuous theme throughout the issues.
Yeah.
But man, they did not connect well. They did not at all.
So Madeline's always looking for Batman stories to read, and I'm like, I can't, in good faith, recommend The Dark Knight yet, because there is so much exposition in it.
Yeah.
And at her age, she's just looking for a good, quick story.
Well, it's not quick. The New 52 Batman stuff is amazing. It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
I agree. And she's going to get into that, but like, that's totally different than reading The Dark Knight.
And then, as far as recommend, she can go prior to that.
Oh yeah. Because she's read No Man's Land.
Okay, that's a lot of extra. That's a ton of writing in that.
It is.
To be honest with you. So going back that far, I'm trying to find her that sweet spot where it transitions more into more modern writing of comics.
Yeah. I would definitely. The New 52 is on her radar. She really wants to read that.
Bruce Wayne Fugitive.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne, she could do that. The Morrison stuff with Damian, Last Son, she could do that. That'd be really easy for her. Then it introduces Damian to her, so she understands that.
She's gonna go in with the negative on Damian because she's a big Tim Drake fan already.
Oh, once she reads Last Son, she reads when she reads when Dick and Damian are the Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
it'll change it. It'll change her mind. Trust me, it will. It'll endear. Damian becomes, and then she'll read Batman. She'll read Batman Incorporated.
Yeah,
and she'll see the relationship between Talia and Damian, and you find your heartstrings being pulled so hard that poor Damian, this poor kid, he never had a chance.
Yeah,
he never had a chance because of his upbringing and how hard he's trying to work to change himself. It endears him, and so. I don't understand how a daughter that loves Son of Kal-El so much and loves John, there's no way she can't love Damian because those two, they go together.
I will say she hasn't read the Super Son stuff. She has the first trade.
But it's better that she hasn't. It's better to get to know Damian first.
Okay.
And so that you could see how John changes Damian a little bit.
Okay. I'll tell her that.
the balancing of John to Damian, it's as if though Bruce and Clark would have met when they were kids. It really was. It really is, and it's fantastic. It really is.
Yeah.
So I know she might have an affinity for Tim now, but the problem was DC screwed up Tim so bad he's just a background character at this point. He really is, and they did him dirty. They did him dirty in Detective.
That's what she knows him from, though. She hasn't gone back and read the older stuff yet. She wants to because of what she's read.
That's the stuff that'll make you love Tim. But they have bastardized that character so much that he's a shell of who he was. He's not the Tim that you and I know.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
Tim's almost a character at this point where I almost like it'd be better if you just killed him off. Just kill him. To be honest with you,
yeah, I don't know.
It would have served him better to be killed off and left dead for a very long time.
So, have you read any more of the Detective run since we last talked?
No, I was going to get to that.
Okay.
So I read Flash.
Yeah.
And then...
So, I just want to point out to you, Mark Waid sets up the Barry Allen coming back.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
He sets up Barry Allen coming back.
Mark Waid does?
Yeah. I think it's around issue 150 of that series.
Okay.
Because
starts. I know the Mark Waid run of Flash when he starts off, I believe it's issue 62.
Yeah.
Where he starts. So he has a good long run, apparently. So
yeah, he had a really long run. And I had a few issues where the Barry stuff was starting. Because I knew...
And I read the Jeff Johns... it's Reborn for him too, right? Flash Reborn. So... Yeah,
I think so.
What I remember from that more than anything was the artwork, because the artwork was incredible.
Yeah.
I think it was Ivan Van Rees did that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
The cover art was incredible on those. But so yeah, I went back to Batman after Flash, and I went Detective Volume 1, Rise of the Batman. I'm interested in getting to Volume 2. I gotta get to Volume 2 of it. But before I get to that, I had to do Batgirl and Birds of Prey.
Yeah,
who was Oracle. Talk about a garbage book. I hated this book with a passion. It was boring. The action was just not there for me. I did not care about
Gail Simone?
No,
it was after that.
I left the book upstairs. I should have brought it. It's a two sisters. Two sisters wrote the book.
Okay.
And then so it's really bad. It's very, very bad. And maybe it's because it's not for me. Maybe it's more maybe it's for your teens.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I could care less about Black Canary. Huntress is just the Huntress was the only interesting part because of her involvement with Spiral and with Dick Grayson. That's the only thing I really kind of cared about with her character.
Yeah.
They made small mentions of her here and there, but the book I'm like, that book should have been, if it wasn't canceled right after that, hopefully very soon after that.
Yeah.
It just was not good. Artwork was pretty bad on it too, to be honest with you. But then I jump over to Batgirl, Beyond Burnside. I'll recommend that to your daughter. I really will. Is she in Batgirl at all?
Yes, she is.
Did she read any of that?
Is that Rebirth? The beginning of the Rebirth?
Yeah, Hope Larson.
Yeah, Kaylee read that. She has the first 12 issues probably. Melon's got them sitting there to read. She just hasn't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, no, I will recommend. I loved it.
Okay.
Hope Larson kicks butt on this book. Really, really good. She also gets some help because Raphael Albuquerque is her artist on it.
Yeah,
his work is. I've always been a big fan of his work. He does a phenomenal job with the artwork on it. So
was it where like Barbara travels to
China,
like Taiwan,
Japan,
yeah,
Korea,
yeah.
Basically.
I remember reading those first few issues and I really liked it.
Yeah, it's good. If you ever want to go back to it, I'd recommend it. It's her books are not in my reading order for Batman, to be honest with you. But I liked it so much that I'm probably going to go ahead and just get the rest of her solo stuff.
Yeah.
Because then eventually it'll catch up with the Nightwing run. I can match up some stuff.
And I don't think that run...
I bet you it fills in holes for my Nightwing run.
Yeah, and I don't think that run goes super long either.
Oh, okay. So it'd be easy enough to do.
Yeah.
And And then it jumps over to a Red Hood book. So
Okay.
volume 1 of Red Hood. And I find it funny that just a minute ago I said, go ahead and kill off Tim Drake.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying Red Hood, but here's the problem. And I feel bad that I like this Red Hood book because it's written by Scott Lobdell.
Yeah.
And aren't we supposed to hate Scott Lobdell now?
I don't think so.
I thought he got involved with some kid stuff.
Ooh.
I think if you look him up. I could have swore he was the one that got involved with them. I can't. I'm reading this book going, oh no, I should probably hate this. But the art, Dexter Soy is the artist on it, and his work's incredible. I never heard of this guy before, but his work on this is really good. And the problem is, he handles Jason's character very well. I'm not a huge Red Hood fan, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I've read enough of his stuff with it's because it's the same title, Red Hood and the Outlaws. But the Outlaws before were Red Arsenal and Starfire. And so on the previous iteration of it, and that was okay. It got weird, but it was okay for a little bit. But so far, I'm really loving Jason's character in this because it focuses on flashbacks with his relation. It tries to focus on a relationship with Batman and trying to hash that out.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I just don't know if I'm supposed to be okay with liking it.
Okay.
I feel bad about it.
So according to his Wikipedia page, in 2011, he had a Twitter beef with Ron Mars. That's nothing too bad, it looks like.
Okay.
But in 2013, he admitted to sexually harassing a comic book artist on stage at a comic panel.
Okay, so it wasn't kids. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just sexual harassment.
No. He made some suggestive comments to her on stage.
Yeah.
And she didn't name him. He came out and identified himself as the person and issued an apology to her.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
So he's not canceled. I can like this book.
No, you can like this book.
Okay.
I was about to say he's done some X-Men stuff that I really liked, and I'm glad I don't have to worry about that.
I just remember I saw the name and I was like, I could have swore because there was something on Reddit about how we're not supposed to like Scott Lobdell for some reason. And I was like, what did he do? So no.
Reddit will be one to bring that type of stuff up pretty quickly.
Right. Yeah, I know. So yeah, man. And then after that, and then after the Red Hood book, I get to go to the next volume of Detective.
Okay.
So I'll be moving on with that, and then I guess Justice League versus Suicide Squad was a big event at some point, so I'm going to be reading that.
Yeah. I never read it. I just stuck with Detective at the time. I didn't read the other stuff that went along with it. I guess
once I get past that, I get to go on a pretty long detective run.
Yeah.
Volumes 3 through 9 are my next.
Yeah.
On the reading list I got, that's what I have next.
Yeah, because between 2 and 3 was Night of the Monster Men, which crossed over with all the Bat books.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm in on this stuff again, and I like that Flash book so much. I was like, I went ahead and ordered the next round of book, or the next Mark Waid book. But then when you start talking about X-Men, I start getting amped up for X-Men, and I'm like, I kind of want to move over to that.
There's some good stuff over there.
But then I'm like, I got to get back to Miles because I got to finish my Miles run.
I know, that's the problem.
I ordered a few Miles books, but man, my Miles stuff, dude. Here's where I'm at with that. I ordered 4 more Miles books. And one of them is Secret Empire. So that's how far behind I'm on that. That's when Steve Rogers was with like Hydra. He was Pro Hydra or whatever. So yeah. Oh, and plus there's a Wolverine Old Man Logan book in the middle of that. And it's volume 4. And I'm like, well, I can't read volume 4 of Old Man Logan without reading volumes 0 through 3. So I gotta read those too.
And just to add to that, it's the Lemire book.
Oh, Old Man Logan is?
Yep.
So yeah, of course I'm gonna probably be like, oh, that's gonna be really good. And I think there's already like 10 volumes of Old Man Logan. I think. I
don't think it was that many. And it got canceled, and he ended up going over to Lemire's X-Men book.
Okay, so yeah, man, I don't know. Yeah, maybe what I should do. I think what I should probably do is order a trade of each one, and go one at a time and spread it out that way.
Yeah, that might be the best, and it keeps it kind of fresh because you're not like all of a sudden like I'm just so tired of reading the same character.
But the problem is with X-Men, it's so many books.
Yes.
I got to keep them straight. Now I'll probably forget what happened in it by the time I get back around to it.
Yes, but I don't know if the trades do this, but there's a recap at the beginning of every issue that really gives you a good idea of what happened in the previous ones. So hopefully the trades have that.
Very true. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm gonna keep hacking away at my Batman detective run, and then I'll get around to it eventually. So that's a recap of where I am with that stuff.
Okay. Here, I'll run through.
Yeah, I definitely want to get that Birds of Prey review out too, because that was just garbage.
Yeah.
I hated that book.
Yeah, I'll probably pass on that.
All
right. So we'll just go through my reading, and then we'll call it, and we'll talk about movies next time.
Okay.
I started Paper Girls again from the beginning because I was going to watch the show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if I read the first trade, that'll probably be good for the first season. But the first season was so different. I'm like, well, I'm just going to stop. I'm going to read the whole thing, and then I'll go back to the show. So I've read 5 of the 6 volumes. Volume 6 is on the way. I should have it next week. God, Brian K. Vaughan is just a creative writer.
Yeah.
The show is a lot different than the book because
we're going to get a saga show at some point, I bet.
We have to.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's... I go back and forth between Saga and Runaways being his best books.
Yeah.
But they've also haven't touched on something like Pride of Baghdad, which was a great standalone story and would be a good Netflix or Amazon Prime movie. So I'm just worried anything he does is going to get the Y the Last Man treatment.
Oh, yeah.
Because the show was so bad. Paper Girls is different.
I'll be right back. Hold on.
Okay.
You keep going. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Paper Girls is different. It's much like Sweet Tooth. It gets to the same point by going a different route. They add characters to the TV show that weren't necessarily in the comic. They tell things from the comic out of order. But both of them have very intriguing storylines that I really liked. There were little things in the show that were different than the comic that I really liked a lot. I've gotten 5 of the 6 volumes done in the comic. I'm excited to see how this ends. And it makes me curious to see where they'll go with the TV show. The other one I read, since Will is reading into X-Men, I read Days of Futures Past again. It's probably been 10, 15 years since I read it. It's just so much better than the movie was. The movie was too Wolverine focused, and I get why they did it because of Hugh Jackman, but man, having Kitty as the focal point did a lot for the book, even though she disappears for part of the book. I just felt like the book had a lot more long-term effect of what was going to happen than they showed in the movie. Let's see. I finished 11/22/63 by Stephen King, an actual book. It was awesome. I loved it. The only downside was he got so in-depth on the Oswald stuff in the middle of the book. It kind of slowed it down, the pace. But it was a really good time travel story.
Okay.
I read The Light Fantastic by Terry Pratchett. It's book 2 of the Discworld saga. I almost gave up on Discworld after the first book because it was one of 40.
Oh my god.
And it just it was slow to get through.
Yeah.
But it was one of his first books, and the second one was a lot better. And from what I've read, you can almost get to a point where you can just grab any random book in the series and read it, and it's not gonna, like, you're not gonna have to know what happened before it. They they go in a lot of different routes. So, like, one of the things I'm looking forward to is reading the first book of this little arc is called Mort, and it's about the character of Death.
Okay.
Think of it this way: it's a fantasy version of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh boy!
So it's silly, but it's like a fantasy book at the same time.
Yeah.
The characters are goofy, the situations are put in are absurd, but it's a lot of fun to read.
Okay.
So when I finished that, I went back and reread Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy because I never finished the series, and it's been almost 20 years since I read the first one. So,
right.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then Freak Angels, it's a Warren Ellis webcomic that I picked up.
You were talking about that.
Yeah, I'm still working my way through that slowly. But
it's typical Warren Ellis where it's so weird, it's ridiculous.
Oh, it is. And it's a post-apocalyptic future where England is pretty much flooded and a group of telepathic children are running things.
Gotcha.
So, really weird, but I love it.
I just can't do it.
No. I picked up.
I love the premise. See, you tell me his premises, and they sound great. But then when the actual execution of reading his actual stuff, what happened to the idea? I go, well, this sound, when you explain it to me, I'm like, that's awesome. But then when I actually have to read his crap, I'm like, I hated it.
Him and Grant Morrison.
Well, but even Morrison, of course. But even Morrison did his Batman run, right? And that was amazing. His X-Men run, amazing. So when he can control himself a little bit and stay in the realm of this doesn't need to be the weirdest thing ever for it to be okay, it's actually really good. They're both very good.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know, man. They're out sometimes just a little too out there.
Just to throw a wrench in your reading order, check out Global Frequencies by Warren Ellis.
You had me read that. Have
you read it?
Yeah, I tried. Can't do it.
I love it.
Can't do it.
An anthology series where all this crazy stuff is going on and they call in secret operatives for it?
Yeah. No, just not for me. Not for me, man.
Yeah. You're missing out.
Can't do it. So, all right. So you've been reading a little bit, is what we like to say.
A little bit.
I got a little bit of reading done.
Yeah. So I've gone back to a Star Wars book.
Okay.
And then I don't know what I'm going to get into after that. I've got so many books to read.
So you mostly reading, didn't get any watching done?
I got a little bit of watching done. We went back and watched the first Nightmare on Elm Street with Kaylee.
The original or remake?
The original.
Okay. How'd she like it?
Well, she went on to watch 2 and 3 right after it. So
2 and 3 are they're okay. They're nothing great. The one I enjoyed the most of the sequels was probably number 6, I think, if I remember it correctly, because it got very meta at that point. It was very, very meta where they brought back what's the main girl's character? What's her name?
I don't remember.
Not Jennifer. What was her name? Anyway, they brought her back. She was the actress that she was herself.
Yeah.
And they were talking about remaking it, but Freddy was in the movie. Like they brought Freddy into the real world, basically. It was pretty good. I like that one a lot. And 3 is Nightmare Warriors, which is super weird. I can't believe she liked that one. Yeah,
well, she likes anything horror for the most part.
Yeah. But she should watch the remake too, the one with Jackie Earle Haley as Freddy. It's actually really good.
She was going. She wants to go through them all, but when she got to 4 isn't on streaming anywhere right now.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to try to find those.
The remake, I think, is on HBO. Maybe. Okay. It's out there. It's out there somewhere to get it.
Well, she's not going to watch any this weekend because it's homecoming. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, I watched a few other things, but we can save them for next time. We've gone for quite a while.
So here, that's fine. And can I give you a recommendation though to watch before next time?
Yeah.
I'll give you 2 things.
Okay.
Sins of the Mother.
Okay.
It's a Netflix docuseries.
Okay.
The story is insane. It's insane. That's all I'm going to say. I think you'd be able to get through it if you had on his background stuff during the week. You'd be able to get through all of it pretty quick.
Okay.
And then the next one's Redeem Team.
It's
the story. It's the story of the 2008 U.S. men's basketball team.
Okay.
I don't know if this is a propaganda film, but God damn it, I love America after watching that. It was so good, dude. I wanted to go watch I never got to the theater to watch Top Gun, which breaks my heart.
Yeah.
It's out forever. I felt like I needed to watch Top Gun after that just to really love America even more. Be so pro-America, right?
You commie.
No. What do you mean commie? What do you mean
You didn't
commie?
see Top Gun in the theaters. You're like the only person in America.
I know, and I'm ashamed for it.
You should be.
So if I feel shame, I'm not a commie. So, yeah, no, Redeem Team, it was so good. It wasn't Last Dance because it wasn't a docuseries. It's a movie instead of a docuseries, but it was still high quality, man. The guy that did this, whoever did this, I can't remember his name, did an awesome job. Okay. So I won't talk about it. I won't go into details of it. But I hope you. This is one. I think if you don't get Sons of Mother, at least watch Redeem Team, and I think you're gonna really like that.
Okay.
So I'm putting that on the same recommendation level of the Manti Te'o documentary.
Okay.
So I think you're gonna really like this.
Yeah, I probably will.
Yeah, and especially if your youngest brother hasn't watched it, tell him he needs to watch it.
Okay.
He'll love it. He'll really like it.
All right, I'll tell him.
So, all right, man. Until next time. That's all we got.
All right.
See
you. Thanks for listening. You can find us on our website, Nyrdcast.com. It's Nyrdcast. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube by searching @Nyrdcast. This week's music is from the East London band Third Party Incidents. This is their new single, Easy, which comes out today.
Melting away, right now it's daylight. I don't know why. I have a lost drink and I'm thinking I'm sinking. And I'm thinking I'm sinking. It's streaming in, down on the east side. Been up all night, listening to 2 Chainz. And I think that I've seen better days. And I think that I've seen better days. And I'm thinking that time. No turning back, facing a relapse. Think I know why I had that 8th drink and I'm sinking, I'm swimming. And I'm sinking, I'm swimming. But I'm thinking all the time. I'm easy, and I'm struggling to get the fuck home. And I felt the effects like a new drug. And I promise you I'm thinking of feelings the same, but it's the next thing. Got time to waste. I'm glad she's leaving, and I don't have a partner. And I don't have a partner. And I'm thinking all the time. And I'm gunking, I'm drunk, and I'm easy. And I'm struggling to get the fuck home. And I felt the effects like a new drug. And I promise you that I'm thinking I'll be. The same, but it's the next day. Got time to waste. And I'm gunking, I'm drunk, and I'm easy. And I'm struggling to get the fuck home. And I felt the